Okay, let me try this again. Um, this is Teresa. I'm a fan and a member of the Singer Futura fan page on Facebook. In the last 24 hours, I think I've counted either 5 or 6 people that have posted issues with their embroidery machine, and I thought, well, maybe if I can give you a video of what to look for and some options that I have found in my personal experience with it, maybe it'll help somebody else. Granted, I am not an expert, although I did about 30 years ago work in a jean factory, and I ran the embroidery room, and we did pockets, the rear pockets of blue jeans. But that was 30 years ago, and that was a commercial piece of equipment. I have the Singer Futura, and it's the CE 100. I don't have my computer on right now, so hence the red lights blinking. But I wanted to cut down on, reduce the noise, and the fan on my computer is making noise. Basically, you're having issues with either the needles breaking or the bobbin casing and bobbin jumping out of place, nesting under your fabric, under your stitching, or loops on top of your stitching. Some of that could be tension related. I have found 99.9% of my issues come from that bobbin case. Now, this is a used one, and I do save mine in case I get desperate. But you will see, like right here, and right over here, there's been quite a bit of little nicks and dings and sandy going on. Also, under here, there is another place. I have these issues with the bobbin casing, and then the next thing you know, it's breaking needles, it's jumping out of place. Every time you get one of these little nicks, that thread is going to snag on it, and it's going to rip it up and make it jump out of place, and in most cases break your needle. So I wanted to go over a few things that I have found. I've got a fairly brand new bobbin case in my machine right at the moment. The bobbin, I just take it out. Now, one thing, we had a debate on this a few weeks ago about, well, let me get something to point with here. This little doohickey right here, the flag does belong underneath this little box area. And by flag, I mean the little spring. Let me change hands. The little spring that's in right there. You'll see that bounces back and forth. That does belong underneath this little box area. That's called your flag, and yes, it goes underneath. If you'll notice, that keeps this little knob that's right here on the bobbin case in place. Now, when you get a really bad snag, that's why this spring is here. It is supposed to allow the bobbin casing to jump out rather than you break a needle. Sometimes both things happen. So, with that being said, your bobbin casing has to seat properly in the space down here in order for things to work correctly too. Now, you can just easily pull it out. And like I said, this is, I've probably got 2 or 3 hours on this new bobbin casing. So it's like in pretty much pristine condition. You don't see any burrs here, or here. And underneath, I'm not showing any scuffs or areas where this shiny part is. And basically what I would do is I would get a nick in it, and I run my finger over those areas really well to check for anything that would prick or snag your thread. Now, like I said, this one is fairly new, so there's not a problem. And this one, of course, is my older one. Now, I do feel a little bit of a snag right there, and you can probably see it, the little notch in it. That's caused from the needle going through the plastic. My biggest complaint with Singer is they use too many plastic pieces now. In years past, in the older model machines, everything was metal, rubber, or, made of a composite that was a lot more stronger. But you broke a lot more needles. So I guess there's pros and cons to everything. And if I had my choice, I would have a different make and model. But anyway, what a lot of people recommend taking a fingernail file and going over those. I'll tell you what I have found that works better is I use a sanding blocks, which is a sponge, and it's flexible, and it gets in those little grooves better because you can apply pressure and get down in the little holes. And I use a really fine grade grit to mine. I don't have the package any longer, but it came like 6 in a pack, and I paid like $1.99 for them. And so this is what I use, and I just usually tuck it down here in one of my little baskets because I do use it so often. Now, what I do is, and I'm trying to do this one-handed because I'm holding the phone, but I just basically rub over it really well. Let me see if I can prop this up and get something a little better to show you. It ain't gonna work. Anyway, I just take and I rub really good in here, and these corner paste parts of the sponge allows you to get into those little places. But it to me, it buffs them off so much quicker and easier and than a fingernail file. The fingernail file, it just doesn't get in the grooves like you can with the sanding block. So I would definitely check, like I said, right here, which is right near that little knob that catches on your flag. Right here gets burrs. This is my biggest area of concern, and you can see it is chewed up. Especially when you're doing towels or really thick items, it has a tendency to do there really bad. And of course, at the top, that you can see the one there. Now, one thing I wanted to show you was in the actual hole, you have a piece right back here that is real sharp, and when it jumps out of place, this underside of the bobbin case is what hits here, and that's the first place that your bobbin thread your needle thread comes down and goes around that spot first. And if it's catching there because of a nick or a burr, that is what is causing the immediate jump out of the bobbin case to misplace. And by the second purge of the downward action of your needle,